The Tilswall 800 Shark is cheaper than filling your tank up with gas. But is it really worth that much? Join me as we put it to the test. Let me go into my house and find something to paint.
After looking around my house, I decided I'm painting this small jewelry box, and there's a reason. Fine finish work is the real test for both the painter and a sprayer. Anyone can glob paint on a wall. But first of all, quick shout out to my two little helpers who handled the unboxing, or at least they claimed the box as their new hangout. I was really excited to see what they sent me. And as I pulled it out of the box, the first thing I noticed was the weight. It's light but not flimsy. It actually feels solid, which surprised me for something in this price range. It feels like someone cared when they designed it, which isn't always the case. Let's see what you get.
So I figured that we just give a quick tour of what we're getting in this particular kit. First of all, we have our test cup. What this does is it helps you to figure out the viscosity that your paint is so that you'll know that you'll be able to spray it properly. Then you notice here you have 3 different tips. There's actually 4 because there's one in the gun, and we'll talk about that in a second. So they're going from bigger, obviously, to smaller. We have a strap. We have a cleaning brush, which this will be nice. We can discuss that in a little bit. I don't know what this thing is called. We always call it like a little booger picker because there's always something stuck in there and you just kind of need to jab something in there. And that's what this is good for. Then you see here we have some replacement gaskets. Then we have this hose. I have about a 6.5 foot wingspan. So this has to be at least, I'd say, about 8 feet long. And we have approximately, I think this is about a 10-foot power cord. I looked this up, so it's about 10 feet. So that gives us about 18 total feet of reach. Let's now disassemble the gun. So this docks into the power unit here. And there's one thing that most people always forget, and that is that there's a filter in this unit. I'm going to show you where the filter is. On the bottom here, there's this door that comes off, and you can see right here, there's a little foam filter. So every once in a while, you want to take that thing out and make sure it's properly cleaned. And then you just put the door back on just like that. Now let's take a moment and we'll disassemble the gun here. So you hit this and this pops out so you can take a look in there. And what this is really going to do, it's going to help with the cleaning. So you'll be able to stick this brush in here and be able to clean anything out, all the chunks. 99 times out of 100, when this thing isn't spraying right, it's because it's not clean. There's something that's gumming it up. So we'll need to keep that in mind. There's also this O-ring on here, which I do wish they gave an extra O-ring, because when these things go bad, like the whole sprayer is useless. It's 3 cents of rubber, but it'll completely stop your job. But that's just something to keep in mind. Typically, they do last a little while. On the trigger, we can see there's a little orange dial. And apparently this helps us to be able to adjust our spray settings. So we'll be able to play with that a little bit when we get some paint in here. And then we will remove the cup. This is a pretty good size cup here. It says almost 46 ounces. That's quite a bit of material. Other sprayers may have an insert that goes in here that you can fill it obviously with the material, and then it helps to keep the cup clean. But this one doesn't, but it does appear to be pretty easy to clean, which I do appreciate that. As we look at our siphon tube, which is this little guy right here, this is goes into the cup and it sucks the paint out. It's nice that this is angle. It used to be when I started painting, all these things were straight and it kind of made it frustrating. So this you have to manually turn one way or another. But what you want to do, if you're going to be spraying down, you want this to be angled down. So let me put this here back together. So if it's going to be spraying down, you want it angled down, because then all the material in the cup flows to the front. But if you're spraying up, you would tilt it backwards so that when it's in the paint, all the paint obviously pulls to the back and it's sucking out as much as possible. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing I do like here is that it does appear you can take that cap off and you can put more paint in it without having to take this whole thing off. So that's pretty nice.
So here's another thing. For this cap, they give you 3 extra gaskets. They go right in here. You already have one in here.
But they go in here. Sometimes they get old, they get dirty, and they just need to be replaced. So you have 3 extra there. And then as far as these 3 old filters here, or not filters, the gaskets, that actually goes right here. It goes right here on that attaches to this base here. So sometimes these get gummy, they get too compressed, and then air or material might start leaking out. So when that happens, you have 3 replacements, which that's pretty nice. A key is always to keep the stuff clean. Always keep it clean, and it'll last a lot longer for you. Then we'll take a look here at how we replace our tips. So we look at this nose unscrews. So that just comes off just like that. Then this piece comes off. That we'll talk about later. And here's the tip. It just pops off like this. Now this is a small tip, and here's the big one. You can see the difference in the orifice size. Obviously, if you're spraying a thicker material, you want the bigger tip. And if you're spraying something thinner or more fine finish, you're going to want the narrower tip. One of the things I do like about these tips is that it looks like they're made of brass or something, which that's great. It's brass, it's not plastic. So it's not going to corrode on you, and it's going to stay more durable longer. So that's a really nice touch. Now, when you want to put these things in, if you look at this tip, you can see that there's an ear right here, just a little ear. And then you look here and there's a notch. So that obviously goes in till it hits the notch. And then you have this piece, and this directs airflow. So you got the holes here and the holes here. So think of it like a pancake. It's going to smush the air. So this tip is just going to shoot paint out, and this actually controls the direction. So this goes on here, and you notice that there's this little slot right here. That goes right into the slot. So we can see how that goes. So you have a little bit of adjustment, and then you can screw that back on tight. If you see the tip, the airflow is going to come like this. So that means that when this is facing this direction, the paint is actually going to come out horizontally. If we turn this, now the paint is squeezing it like this. So that means the paint will come out vertically. If we have it at like a 45, it's going to shoot a cone or a circle. All right. I just strained my paint, so we are completely ready to go. Let's prep that jewelry box.
Here's a pro tip. Even the best sprayer can't shoot through chunks. Strain your paint every time. It's like making coffee without a filter. It clogs everything. Now you're going to notice the jewelry box turned blue here. Originally I primed it white, and then I remembered, oh wait, I'm painting it white. So yeah, you wouldn't see anything on camera. So I switched it to blue so you could see the spray pattern. It's kind of my own special effect, but hopefully you appreciate the extra effort. Also, just a heads up, the way that HVLP sprayers atomize paint, they naturally lay down a slight orange peel texture. It is normal, but you can get a smoother finish by using the right tip size and properly thinning the material. As we put the box back together, here are my final thoughts. The little turbine throws a surprising amount of air, and there's no trigger control for airflow. Once it's on, it's on. If you're working on lightweight pieces, make sure to hold them down, or they might end up airborne. That said, for fine finish work, it really surprised me. I've been painting for over 25 years, and even with all the commercial sprayers I own, this little guy pulled off a solid result for the price point. And, as you can see here, clearly it passed inspection. My cat gave it a full once-over, 2 paws up. If you want to try it yourself, I've got a link and a discount code for you in the description. Let me know what you'd use it on, and hit the subscribe for more no-fluff reviews.